Good morning, everybody. Back to Paddy's Daily video again, and I've been doing a bit of thinking as normal, trying to come up with different ideas. I want this to be an open tag because this is a way of showing somebody quite a few of your knives and giving a reason behind why you've got them. You've seen the tag it's job specific knives or task specific knives in your collection, and I'm going to show my lower end and my higher end ones, and I've picked a selection. Look, I'll be honest, I'm a knife reviewer, I'm a knife collector, I have a lot of knives, so I could change these out multiple times. That's not the point. What I'm trying to do is get to think of knives that in your collection are the staples, the ones you would go to, or that type of knife. It doesn't, we're not set in stone, and what I want to see is different knives that people would choose if you had to think about it. That's just the way this is. That's the way it's going to go. Anyway, so I'm going to start with, and I'm not going to call them bushcraft knives. I'm going to call it just a fixed blade knife. Just around the house, an everyday use fixed blade knife, whether it be out in the yard, doing a fire, on a camp, anything. It's just a basic fixed blade knife, which I think everybody should have in their collection, or on it. Just if you're a knife person, you should have a fixed blade. Now, I haven't gone very expensive because for me, the reason behind that is I don't think you need to go expensive on a fixed blade to make it really, really useful. So I'm going to start in my budget range, and I'm using this one. This is a Mora, and this is an old one. It's one I've had for years. It's my own faithful. It does everything, and these are cheap as chips. This one is, honestly, I can't tell you the use I have had out of this knife. It's unbelievable. It has a lovely rubber gripped handle, typical Mora. Look, these start at something like, I think, single figures for the really cheap ones. This one's maybe up at the $20 $30 mark. It's just a great knife. I can't even remember what this is called. This is a carbon fiber one, by the way. You can get them in stainless, but I like carbon fiber. It's easy to sharpen. It's easy to sharpen. And for a budget line, the Mora, for me, you just can't go past. There's plenty of other ones, but for me, and the fact that I've used a lot of them when I was bushcrafting makes them even more special. I have a fire starter and I have a bit of tape there, which is for multiple uses. So we'll take that out of the way. For my higher end, there's not that much difference in price. I think this costs about £30. So this is not an expensive knife. It comes in a Kydex sheath, and it comes with a clip that I can carry at side carry. Absolutely brilliant. This is a Brother knife. As you know, look, Brother sponsor this channel, so I use their knives. Have I got more higher end? Yeah, I have, but this is 440D. I've got Brother knives in D2, they're fixed blade knives, but this is one I just like. This is a beautiful micarta handle. Look at 30 quid. A micarta handle. A 440C, which is easily sharpened out in the field, and that is why I choose these blade steels for budget or high end. I like them because they're easy to sharpen in the field. I always take a wee sharpened stone with me. You've seen my wee stone. That's what I use in the field. Listen to that retention for a $30-odd knife. Absolutely stunning. So there's my high end, if you like. Now, next, I'm going to go to a job specific, which is specific to where I live and the uses that I will use it for. And I think that's what's going to change this up for lots of different ones who want to get involved in an open tag. It's your specific area. So we'll start with the high end this time. And the high end is my Spidey Chef. Just becoming one of my staples. It really is. I use this every day to cut up food, but that's not the purpose of this knife. The purpose of this knife is just a true utility knife. I live by the sea. I live in a seaside town. I have a caravan down by the sea, so salt plays a big important amount with a knife that I'm going to take out and use. If I'm walking along the beach, if I want to cut up and do a bit of whittling at the beach, or just anywhere. This is sitting out in my decking on a windy day down the beach. The salt spray will get on the knife. I have no worries that this is going to rust. So this is my high-end salt-resistant knife, and it's just a knife that this LC200 steel at Spyderco. Now, there's a few others, but Spyderco mainly are using. It is an absolute cracking steel. It really is, and I'm growing more and more fond of. It sharpens in a blink of an eye. It takes a screaming edge. It holds an edge for a really good amount of time. But this Spidey Chef, as a knife, look, it's £250. It's an expensive bit of kit that, you know, can we warrant it? Yeah, because I like knives. This is my hobby, so I can warrant buying it. But it's right at the top end of my, well, it was a good budget I had last year. But I mean, it really was. This was one of my best buys. I absolutely love this knife. And it's because the steel is so good. It's just so good. And versatile, but it's specific to where I live, by the sea, alongside the sea, where I'm going to spend a lot of my time. Now I'm going to move from this $250 knife over to the budget side, and I'm going to show you a knife that's not what most people are going to call budget who are into budget knives. It's expensive, but for somebody who lives and has my sort of situation, this one I'm going to highly recommend, that it's worth saving up for, skipping a few knives for a while and getting this knife because it's that good. This is amazing. This is its budget counterpart from Spyderco. This is a Native 5. This is a really amazing knife in hand to use. It's got the FRN scales. This is an LC200. I just dyed the scales. LC200, so I know what the blade steel's like. I can use this for anything. But again, I live by the sea. This is salt. This is rust proof. So I can take it and use it anywhere. And although I'm putting it in my budget line, this is about $130, or £130, I should say, which is really expensive for a budget knife. But I do believe that recommending this, I'm not giving you a bum steer. That LC200 blade steel is worth saving for. It is so good. In my eyes, these are just my opinions, but this knife is ergonomically, it's a Spyderco. It's just beautiful, and it will not rust. Both of these are virtually unrustable. Not completely, they tell me, but virtually. I've never seen one rusted, or I've never heard of anybody saying that one is rusted. So, now, again, I'm sorry that's expensive, but I really am pushing it because I think it's worth saving for if you're on a budget or not. Now, okay, the next knife, and this is my utility knife. This is a knife that I do anything with and everything with. It's just a knife that's an all-round knife to use about the house, outside, anything. Any jobs I want to do that are from the roughest jobs to just cutting a box up. This is the knife, my expensive version. This is my Hinderer Slippy. I'm in the UK, it's a slip joint. I had to throw this in because this is just my pride and joy. This is an absolute ergonomic treat. It's in 20 CV. It is just a stunning work knife. Now, again, this is nearly £300, about 280 odd pounds. I think that actually the prices have just gone up to 300. But this little slippy, it's the XM18 slippy in the slicer grind, and it is a treat to use. One of the safest slip joints I've ever used, but just an absolute cracking knife. I'll do anything with this. Absolutely anything, and no fear. I have a good tip on it. It's not a skinny tip, so I can do a bit of poke and prying. This, I have no fear whatsoever. It's got the G10 scales on both sides. Incredibly grippy. I love this clip. I know it's not deep pocket, but this is a legal carry knife, so this clip is just perfect. The thumb stud you can have on or off and just use this as a fuller, but you can actually move this up and down here. I like it because it makes it one hand opening rather than being a normal slip joint. So that's why I chose that. This is a utility knife at the top end of the pay scale for me. Now, I've had this knife out recently and I'd forgotten just how good it was. And this is, and I'm going to forget the blooming name of it and I'll hardly see it with these glasses on. This is the 763, the FB763, the Ganzo. I'd forgotten how good this knife was. I had it out the other day. I was doing another video. It's lightweight because the handle is completely weight relieved. It's got that axis lock and an action. Look at that there. It's just, this is a solid built big knife, a full, and I mean a full for, there's room for a bigger hand. I have a medium large hand, but there's plenty of room there and there's so much work you can get done with this knife. Well, I remember when it first came out, it just blew me away because the action was so good. Now, the action is not why I'm recommending this. I'm recommending it because look, it's a good, solid, big knife with a good point. You're going to be able to do any utility tasks or any tasks that you can think of with a knife with this. It's just a great, great utility knife. Beefy enough to take on any job, but yet it's small enough that you can just use it in hand for typical tasks about the house. So there we go. That's now the budget end. These... but I'll come back to the sort of prices. Heine Haynes is doing these now, which is our channel sponsor, and you'll get discount on them. They're a bit dearer than what you have to pay when you get them from China, but to me it's worth it because you get it the next day or in 2 days' time. So let's start with the expensive. We'll just keep on that route. This is my pocket knife. And I think every man should have a pocket knife. This is a daily use knife and, you know, heavy use or whatever you want to use it for. But I think having a slip joint, a pocket knife, whatever you want to call it, doesn't necessarily have to be a slip joint. You can have lockbacks, you can have a liner lock, whatever. But it's just a small pocket knife for everyday tasks that you don't want to use these knives for. I don't want to blunt these knives when I can have a little pocket knife. I like 1095 that they have in a GEC. That's my choice of a blade steel because it's easy to sharpen and you get a razor's edge on these pocket knives, and that's what's nice. Just for everyday tasks, cutting bits of string, cutting up a box, doing anything to save your main blade from getting dull. Love this GEC. This is a 78, number 78 American Jack. Lovely big spear blade, just so versatile for everyday use. So that's my expensive one. My budget one, again, I had this out the other day and I'd forgotten just what a good knife it is. The coal miner from Rough Rider. What a utility knife. You have this big blade, this big sheep's foot or whatever you want to call it. You also have a pen blade, which is not a small pen blade. That is that is not a small pen blade. That is a good size pen blade. But you also get this big chunk of a knife that will do, again, everyday tasks, box cutting, whatever, so that your main knife is not getting blunted. This is in 440A. Again, it's a great steel, easy to sharpen, great little knife. Highly recommend Rough Riders. Any form, any GEC, but this is the budget version, and this is, you know, £15–20. Just an amazing knife for the money. But also in use. I mean, I don't feel that I'm any less armed by using the knives in this size than I do on this side. These are, yes, higher quality knives, without a doubt, but these knives on the budget end will cover them. They will cover them. And I know I'm pushing my limit with that as a budget knife, but I really do recommend, if you can save up that LC200, if you live near a beach, you spend time on a beach, you're a surfer, whatever, just save up and get one. They're just so good. It is so good. And it's proven to be so good. Now, we've done the fixed blades, which you've had here. This is our fixed blades here. We'll put that up there. And our budget fixed blade, which is the Mora. The brother knives, I can't explain to you. I know I've got that on the expensive side, and it's only a £30 knife, but they are every bit as good as most high-end knives for me as a fixed blade, because you can sharpen them easily. Now, the last thing that I'm going to bring out is a multi-tool, and I have put this in the center. This is a real old multi-tool. It's a beautiful tool. This is the Pulse, which is just an all-locking multi-tool, which I find really good. It has the pliers, it has files, it has a knife, it has a pair, I think it even has a pair of scissors in it. But the reason I'm going to recommend this one is that it has a diamond file, and you can sharpen any knife with that diamond file. It is amazing. It'll bring any knife back to sharpness, and then use your belt to stop it. It's just so good as a diamond file. It's also got a proper rasp type file on the other end. But that diamond file I have, if you go back on my channel, you'll see, I'll maybe do another one updated, but if anybody's interested in me sharpening a knife with this, let me know down below and I'll maybe do a wee video on that. But I've done one in my previous videos quite a while back. I've had this from the start of my knife collecting. This knife is just unbeatable for the price. Now, saying that, I don't think you can get this one anymore, but Leatherman in just totality are knives that are worth spending the money on. And I've put this in because I'm going to use this for both sides. Get a Leatherman. Don't muck about with anything else. For me, Leatherman are just the best multi-tools out there. From their little small multi-tools, I have one coming to replace I carry a wee dime about with me in my pocket every day. I left it down the caravan before this shut down. And oh boy, have I missed it. I use the wee pliers on it all the time when I'm mucking about with knives, lifting screws and things like that. But this Leatherman Pulse, or any good Leatherman, and all Leathermans are good. that should be their slogan if it isn't. You can go up into the hundreds of pounds, or you can come down to like a 30, 40 pound Leatherman, or that are just every bit as good because the tools are good, and I think they're guaranteed for life. They're just a great tool. This hasn't got spung pliers, but that never bothered me in the slightest. But they're just amazing pliers, and the wee blade's good. There's even a measuring tool on the outside. Everything in there that you want for a utility tool. So, there you go. That's my preferences. That's the reasoning why I would choose these sort of knives. But I have so many knives that I could switch these out for. But for me, the basics of them is I live by the sea, which brings these two in. The utility knives and the fixed blade knives can be mixed and matched to whatever you want. We all have different collections. That's just my collection. And that was my choices today. And I'm happy with them. If that was to be my last choices for a pick of a fixed blade, a multi-tool, and either one of this side, I'd be happy. I know I'm going to be all right no matter what I'm doing. Very dramatic, but it's dramatic times. So wee Paddy is away for his cup of tea from Heine Haynes, who sponsors. And by the way, most of these knives, barring these two, the rest of these knives you can get from Heine Haynes, and we're getting a discount of 7% off, no questions asked. You just type in the details are down below. I'll not go on about it, but you can get any of these from Heine Haynes and you're going to get a discount. So there you go, I'm away. There's my wee knives back again. Take care, everybody, and please join in. Let me see what you've got and give me just a brief reasoning of why you've chose that knife. Take care. Bye now. Cup of tea time.